right, everybody, welcome to another episode of another bourbon show. Tonight we've got a different type of an episode on tap for you guys. First of all, we are not all drinking the same thing for once. This is the first time that's ever happened. A shipment to Ryan failed to get there. He didn't get 8 weeks, 7 weeks worth of liquor, and some of it was very, very high end stuff. So I didn't put it in. I didn't try to ship you another one yet. I'm going to try to get that done tomorrow. But in any case, we're doing a little bit different of a show tonight. We are all drinking our own choice. It's a what do you call that? Not a potluck. It's a free for all for one thing. There's a word that I'm looking for.
It's just BYOB. Bring your own bourbon, baby.
There you go. So tonight I'm going to be drinking some Elijah Craig small batch. It's specifically a barrel pick from A1 Liquors, which is in Effingham, Illinois. If you are going through Effingham, stop by and see Nirav. He's got 2 stores. He does some amazing picks, and he's got really great prices. So that's what I'm sipping on to start with.
Didn't he buy a bar, or he's opening a bar too, or something?
So he opened up a second liquor store, and it has a bar attached to it, which is really nice. He's got some high end stuff in that bar. I haven't stopped there yet. It's only been open for about a week, but I want to make the trip. But yeah, you're exactly right. So, Steven, Ryan, what are you guys drinking tonight?
I will be drinking some Ezra Brooks Distillers Collection, which is another store pick that came from the Wine and Cheese Place in Missouri. And the reason why I picked this up was because one of my favorite picks on the show, or not, I shouldn't use the word pick, but one of my favorite selections that we've had on the show was Old Ezra 7, which has had some supply chain issues recently for a couple different reasons we don't have to get into. But basically, when I saw this on the shelf, I was like, that could be a good substitute because it is, I don't know if this is all their picks, but this pick just so happens to be 107 proof. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, this is probably as close as I'm going to get. And it was only $35. It's one of those instances. I've been kind of preaching this to people lately. I got a few friends new to bourbon, and this is kind of the proof that I've used where it's like, just give something a shot. And store picks are a great way to do that. It's a great way to get to know the store owners at your local stores, I think, and just start a conversation. And just sample something that's usually, in my opinion, in my experience, has been a good value in store picks. And it's just something unique, something outside the norm that you can find. And I've been going through this guy quick, and that was my pick for tonight.
Yeah, and those store / barrel picks tend to be really good, like really, really good. You can find some amazing ones out there.
Just lazy and drinking whatever's on this desk that I haven't moved down back.
You still have this? Is that the same 1792 pick we
drank? Yeah. So I got that. Actually, got some Kentucky all confiscated too. We've done all these.
Yeah.
Buffalo Trace. It's my wife's desk, so I'm sure she loves all the whiskey I'm collecting. But whatever.
But what are you actually sipping on at this moment?
Right now, the Angel's Envy Rye.
Okay, cool.
That just sounded good.
Oh, it's so good. So good. So ordinarily, this is where we would go into like the mash bill of what we're drinking, but we're not going to do that 3 times because nobody wants to listen to that 3 different times. We're drinking 3 that are, pretty well known, pretty common. I guess the only thing I am curious about as far as like what we're drinking is Steven. Like, can you identify like the differences between the barrel pick that you're sipping on and Old Ezra 7?
I think that this one is a little less bacon spice heavy.
Okay.
Because I remember comparing the Old Ezra 7 to Antique 107. Yeah. And we talked about how that could be a good blind episode. This one, I don't get that same sort of like baking spice note at the end. Mm-hmm. This one it couldn't be confused anything for like a wheated bourbon or anything. It's more like it tastes like a bean product more because there's like some peanut in there. Okay. That's like one of the first things I pick up, which is the peanut note is probably becoming my like vanilla caramel to Ryan. I feel like I've been picking that up a lot lately. but it's heavy in this. So I mean, what the fuck are you gonna do? You know.
I
But
got a
that's
hilarious
stand out.
comment about Ryan that I've got to throw out right now. I got a message on TikTok from the guy. So he's actually just a distiller from High West Distillery, and he's going to be joining us a couple episodes from now. But he messaged me and he goes, "So I'm like 15 minutes into your most recent episode, and I've got to know." Ryan has barely eaten any fruits in his entire life. And yet, lately, he picks up fruits in every single one of his every one of the bourbons that you drink. How is that possible?
It,
That's
it's
actually a great fucking point.
it's any fruits that look weird, I typically don't eat. So anything I've talked about lately, cherry or I've actually had apricot and all that, like apples. I've eaten all of those. It's once you start going pretty much off the reservation, I will not eat that. So whatever, High West, dude. You come on here, we could talk about some fruit.
I think can I just say something on your behalf, Ryan? I think High
Yeah.
West needs to get off their high horse. Okay.
Oh, throwing down the gauntlet.
Yeah.
High
Stop talking
West.
trash about my friend. Only we can do that. Okay.
And we do
Yeah,
it constantly.
I'll fly out to Park West, Utah, or wherever the hell you are. We could have some words.
Kick
You
his
live out
Mormon
there?
ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fruits. What is meat not good enough for you? Why are you expanding from? We have ribeye here on this show. Okay. No, none of this like fruit shit. And speaking of which, the Ezra Brooks, I pick up a lot of sirloin. Actually, that's what I pick up. Red meat.
So you like your store pick?
Yeah, I mean, I like it a lot. It says the charcoal mellowed
Yeah.
on the front. Now, I don't know if that is the same thing as the Lincoln County process, because one of the things I also pick up is there's almost like a Jack Daniel's sort of quality, and I can't quite place it. I don't know exactly what it would be, but something about this is a little bit of like Tennessee whiskey to me, but it's not the like banana note that
Yeah.
everybody's familiar with. It's like there's some other quality to it, but I can't place it if it's not the charcoal mellowing.
Yeah, so they do filter it through charcoal, which is the part of the Lincoln County process. The difference is that specifically the Lincoln County process uses maple charcoal finishing, and that is, if memory serves, still an oak charcoal filtering. I
Let's
think.
see.
Um, I mean, fuck, maybe it is sugar maple. I don't know. But in any case, that charcoal filtering, it does add a nice smooth finish to whatever it is you're sipping on. So
Yeah, it's very smooth for like even for it being like 107. I feel like, and this might not be significant sounding to like some people, but I feel like it drinks more like a 100 proof,
yeah,
which is like it's only makes a difference if you have it next to something else that's 107 or around there and not as smooth. You know what I mean? Then it sticks out like a sore thumb. You're just
yeah.
like, oh yeah, there's some quality to this that's much smoother. And again, I think it's an outstanding value to get this for like $35. Like this is easily something I feel like I would pay like 70 for in a different
Yeah.
bottle.
Did they put the age statement on it?
Yes, they
I can't remember
did.
if they do that on Ezra. I've got two. Well,
Um,
no, one Ezra Brooks pick back there.
barrel
No,
was
two.
filled. The barrel, anyway, was filled September 3rd of 2015.
Okay, so probably 6 years.
Close, yeah. They would have had to pull that earlier this year, and I bought it in like August or something. So it's probably like five and
Okay.
change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ryan, what's been going on in your world lately?
Well, I know we were going to kind of get into what Steven brought up earlier, but up here we had I guess a COVID outbreak for one of the biggest beer distributors in the Chicagoland area. So a bunch of stores didn't get any Miller Coors products for the weekend. A bunch of Chicago stores. I think the drivers are all Teamsters, and they're like, "Yep, the office is all filled with COVID people. We're not going." So the drivers just didn't show up to work. So it's a little crazy right now. Miller Lite was out everywhere in Chicago. That's a big deal.
Is Chicago mostly a Miller Lite town?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Miller Coors for sure.
No Budweiser?
I mean, people drink. I mean, you got Goose Island up here that's owned by InBev, but yeah, people definitely go with Miller more just because it's so close to Milwaukee.
Okay.
But yeah, it's an interesting time. It seems like everyone's getting sick again and things are changing. As usual, a bunch of stuff's out of stock. If you like New Zealand wine, start buying up your favorite wine soon because it's going out of stock everywhere.
And why is this? Is this regular supply chain issues that they're having
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, there's a little combination of that. And a lot of these, especially New Zealand wines, they're making like low calorie wines, kind of like the healthier aspect. They're legally not allowed to say healthy wine or healthy anything on alcohol because it's not healthy. But a lot of these companies are putting their resources into things like that. But yeah, because of COVID and the surge of Sauvignon Blanc is a category, couldn't keep up with demand.
So what is Sauvignon Blanc?
That's
a type of grape, right?
Yeah, it's a white wine. Yep. So it's definitely like a crispier, depending on, if it's like New Zealand, it's a fruitier, crispier type wine. It's a fresher wine. A lot of Chardonnays you'll get, that buttery sensation that I kind of don't like at all. Or you'll get a super oaky Chardonnay. But Sauvignon Blanc's like the fruitier, just fruit forward type wine that is a lot more popular right now. And I think tastes a lot better. Chardonnay's for old people, or at least that's what they tell me. So I have a few accounts who are like, yeah, that's old people wine. We don't want any Chardonnay. I'm like, all right. No skin on my bag.
I want to do two things here. Okay, first of all, we have not yet been banned. That's topic number one. Shocking. Number two, for the folks on TikTok, for the listeners on iTunes or wherever or YouTube, we're also doing this live on TikTok. But for the folks on TikTok, Ryan is a rep for a distributor up in the Chicago area. So that's really the only value add that Ryan provides. That's
it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and he's one of our best friends, right? Well, let's be honest. We're the three best friends that ever could be.
Yeah. You're not fucking with us? We're not banned on TikTok right now?
No, seriously, we haven't been banned yet.
No. China runs a looser ship than I thought, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was led to believe it's an iron fist.
Really thought we'd be done by now, but we're not. You know that I have been banned from TikTok before, right?
No, I didn't know that. When?
My second live I ever did, I got banned for a week for it because, listen to how I word this, because I didn't word it this way on live. I started drinking alcohol before I was legally allowed to. And I mentioned that on TikTok Live. But I said it in a way other than how I just said it. And boom. Cut off. Right then and there. Banned for a week. The goal is actually to not get banned. I just assume we're going to. That's just the way this podcast is before it gets edited very well by Steven. I just really figured that we would get banned by now, but we haven't been.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure the clock's ticking. We got to get in whatever we got to get in before then.
Yeah.
Oh, we should all hold up our bottles real quick. We should do I've been taking snapshots and stills to do like thumbnails for the YouTube videos. So we got to do like the I
hate that shit so much.
Hold your bottle, stupid. Brian. Do your YouTube face. All right, we'll get something out of there. By the way, Dan, you are drinking a Heaven Hill product tonight, and they are on strike right now.
I am.
Which is news to Ryan, apparently. He didn't even hear about this. But I was going to ask how you guys felt about it, what you thought ultimately was going to come of it, if it was going to inspire any other distilleries to sort of rise up and demand sort of compensation for this bourbon boom that we're going through.
Yeah, and actually want to start with this because this is the honest to God truth. I feel really, 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 really bad right now because I actually promised myself that I wasn't going to pour any bottles out. That's just, I'm not going to do that. But I did promise myself that I wasn't going to drink any Heaven Hill products until after the strike ended. And I 100% fucking forgot.
Well, what I'll
How?
say in your defense is that High West needs to get off their. No, never mind. You already bought this bottle, though. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah, that's true.
it's
It was
not.
kind of like a moral thing, though. It was like I can't drive by and honk my horn. I can't do that. So I was like, let me try to stand in unity with them by not drinking their stuff, and I couldn't even fucking do that. like, like how big of a loser am I that I can't even
Yeah.
support them by not drinking their stuff? So that's number one. And I'm honest to God, I do feel bad about that. But number two, like I'm hugely supportive of the strike. I don't know the details the way I wish I did. But I know that they are like one of the biggest distilleries on the planet, one of the biggest, certainly one of the biggest whiskey companies on the planet, distilleries aside. And they are one of the lowest paying distilleries on the planet. And their contract was up, and the employees were saying, you got to pay us more. And they said, not only are we not going to pay you more, we're going to cut your health benefits. And like trying to cut people's health benefits in current times, that's pretty fucking harsh, right? Like that's pretty like, again,
Even without the context, just that alone is pretty harsh.
correct. And then you put it into the context of being in the middle, again, believe that coronavirus is a bad thing or not. We don't get very political on this show. I don't give a shit. The world says we're in a pandemic. People are being forced to work from home. 600,000 people have died, whether you believe that's from COVID or not. I don't give a shit. A bunch of more people are dying than in a typical year. And you're going to cut people's health benefits? That seems pretty harsh to me. So yeah. I fully support the strike, and I hope that their employees get treated well and compensated well because they bust their ass and put out some of the best products on the planet. So yeah, I'm a big supporter of their strike.
It's not like the major whiskey players are hurting right now financially either.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
Right.
you can't turn. I mean, no company should be turning record profits and then have their employees, get anything slashed. You know, like the least of it is like you can't take stuff away, but the on top of that, if they come back to you and they say, "Hey, we want to get a little bit more because we're the lowest paid," I don't think that's too much to ask for somebody making record profits.
Right.
You can disagree about the dollar amount or something maybe, but it just seems like I don't understand how anybody who likes bourbon or has ever worked an honest job before wouldn't be on the side of the workers at this point, even if you have some issues with unions in your own right. There was like a video that came out like a week ago, I think, where there was like contracted employees right now that like I can't remember what happened. I feel like they did something wrong in the distillery and somebody got video of it. That like they like knocked something over with a forklift or something like that. You know what I mean? Like there was like
I heard something about that too.
I can't remember what it was.
I don't remember where I did, but I did hear something about that. Yeah. I'm gonna switch out what I'm drinking because I finished my glass and now I feel guilty, so I'm gonna switch over to Makers.
I just bullied him out of drinking what he was drinking, man.
Yeah, you did. Hey, do we want to take some questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm gonna scroll through here. Oh, it's Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean's a good dude. He is always in my lives. He's such a great dude. Hey, we got somebody that was at Lebanon yesterday, and they had several behind the counter. Several Makers 46. Burke is gone, but if he was here, he'd like to know that how great it is. Okay, so you all should just try just a hit of Shack Bark hickory syrup in your bourbon. It's delicious. I'll try that. Benchmark has a bit of a beef jerky. That must be way back.
Yeah.
My Benchmark has a bit of beef jerky flavor. Man, I love TikTok Live. Why are companies considered responsible for providing healthcare in the first place? So again, this question is from way back. This person is clearly not here. But who wants to field why are companies considered responsible for providing healthcare in the first place?
I think if you're spending a majority of your week at a job, you know, a 9 to 5 Monday through
Well,
Friday
somebody's going to say
gig.
it's only a third of your life.
Well, I mean, come on, you know, like a week. The weekend's 2 days. The work
Yeah.
week's 5. So it takes up a majority of your life. You come home from work. What do? You eat dinner. You know, have a bourbon, go to bed, wake up, go to work. If you're spending a majority of your time at a company, then yeah, I think they bear some responsibility with healthcare and other things.
Well,
But
somebody could say though, to your point, Ryan, somebody could say, yeah, but statistically, most accidents happen at the home, or they could say something like that, where it's like, because if you're talking about likelihood to get injured because of all that time spent, it seems like the statistics actually lean towards being injured at home. I think that what you're talking about is more of a reason to offer like life insurance or something. But I would say, to me, the answer is just that's the free market deciding, baby. Because if you it's a benefit to the job, and if you don't offer it to me but somebody else does, I'll just go work there. And so you have to be
yeah,
competitive.
And
Somebody started offering it, and then
I want to throw out there that my response. By the way, TikTok, we are right now addressing questions and answers from the TikTok audience. So I want to throw out there that my response to that question, and the question again was, why are companies considered responsible for providing healthcare in the first place? My opinion, free market, yes, but it's in their best interests. If I'm sick and I can't come to work, who does my job? It's in their best interest to get me healthy to where I can perform and provide a service which makes the owner money as quickly as possible. That's a very dark response. It's not very fucking, I don't know, whatever, but it's the truth, right? Like that's probably where it came from.
yeah, the hiring process is expensive, so you want to keep your employees alive as long as you can.
And you are exactly right. It is very
and
expensive.
here's the deal too. People, I mean, companies, you're seeing there's hiring shortages all across. No one has, you go to there's a bunch of restaurants in my hometown of Bloomington, Illinois, where the kitchens just aren't open because they can't staff. So you're going to see companies offering better incentives to work there. Hopefully, unless you're Heaven Hill, then I guess you won't. this all this all this all reminds me of the Always Sunny, the Patty's dollars. I don't know what a self-sustaining economy. I don't even know how the U.S. economy works.
Okay, so the next question, Mr. Clean, who I think is still in here. I don't know if I have no idea why. But Mr. Clean says, why is Fireball the best bourbon? Well, first of all, Mr. Clean, Fireball is not bourbon. It's whiskey. And it barely meets the category or classification as whiskey. However, Ryan, if there was ever a question that was best suited for you, this is it.
So if you want the good whiskey, you got to buy Fireball, and you have to have it in almost any size. That's from 50 mLs to the Fireball buckets, the party buckets, and all that.
No,
So,
go talk about your love for Fireball
Yeah,
and
he's not
how
talking
the
about
three
why
of
he
us
didn't say
cannot
he didn't say
go
why
out
is it
together
he
without
didn't
doing
say
Fireball shots and screwball shots.
yeah, my dad's had a big impact on my life when it comes to shots, and it's something we always do is Fireball, and I've probably been doing it with him since I was 21. But it is those and root beer shooters at Skinner's. But one of the managers at Skinner's come out when I worked there. He's like, "Oh, give me a little pinch," and that meant Fireball. So then the whole bar would do a shot of Fireball. It's dangerous. I mean, there was a point there for a couple of years I couldn't do it. I'm like, I just have had so much of this.
Is that
And
when
I
you
found
switch
out,
to Jaeger?
well, Jaeger bombs, Screwball, but I found Fireball warm is a lot easier to drink than cold. I don't know why, um, but I prefer it warm, and it's not as bad when you.
Yeah.
Not that it's bad because it's not, but it's a niche thing, but it's a lot easier to drink warm than cold.
So
And you
Mr.
can't say that
Clean,
about a lot of things.
Mr. Clean talks about Fireball constantly, and it's hilarious to me because like he knows my belief that like Screwball, Fireball, like okay, you guys convinced me about Screwball, but like Fireball, Jaeger, any of those, any alcoholic spirit, it's got its time and its place, and in that time and its place is great. Like, who gives a shit about showing off with high end bottles? It's about drinking and enjoying life, right? And I do want to throw out that the other day I saw and shared with Mr. Clean a drink recipe that he says is like 8 out of 10. And I need to try it. I need one ingredient. And
It's not as ringing of an endorsement as I would expect from somebody who says it's the best, but go on.
I mean, it's
8 out of
really
10.
high. Like he said, it's really good. And I heard, like, whenever I first heard about it, I heard it was like 9.5 out of 10. And it doesn't sound good, but supposedly it is. It is pineapple juice and Fireball. Supposedly, that is a killer drink. Mr. Clean, what did you drink it with? Was it
Well,
seltzer?
that was like me, SoCo and Mountain Dew. It tastes like bubble gum. It actually does.
Yeah, that's true. Reach of y'all's favorite whiskey result available then all of time. I don't know what
But
the
each of
fuck that
y'all's
means.
favorite was he said readily available whiskey that you can just go and buy off the shelf that I imagine isn't allocated hard to get, right?
Hey, that, I mean, I guess so. It's probably so. You're in live right now.
You mean, yeah, I'm in live.
Well, then you read the goddamn questions. Jesus,
I'm not
it's
going to read
probably
all the
easier
questions.
for you.
I mean, maybe. So readily available. That's a good question.
My answer would be Wild Turkey 101. I just think it's so versatile, you can't go wrong with it. Like I'd put that in a ton of drinks or I'd sip it on its own. Super cheap, super available. I'm only bummed that they changed the label recently. I can't believe it. I gave them such a high rating. They didn't give a shit.
No, the Russells should pay closer attention to us if we're being honest.
And they actually shifted. They had a paper label that I gave a high rating to, and now they've shifted to like this like specialized glass bottle they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, the fuck are you doing? No one
Yep.
else is doing this right now. They're always going the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my all-time has been Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel.
Yeah, but that's not readily available.
Yeah, I know. He said also of all time though.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
of all time, are they a Heaven Hill product?
Yeah.
So now that they're not paying their workers, it's my all-time favorite. Readily available is.
You're such a dick.
I don't know, like readily available. I pretty much just drink whatever. I mean, regular standard Old Forester 86. I mean, good. It mixes well, easy to find. I know you're not huge on Woodford, but Woodford's another one for me. Yeah, if Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel was available all the time, I'd probably have to say that, but it's not.
For me, it's got to be. I mean, honestly, it's got to be Mellow Corn.
Oh yeah,
I kill more bottles of Mellow Corn than anything else, and it's not even close. Like, I kill a bottle of Mellow Corn probably once a month, right? Like, and I drink lots of my other stuff, but there's not a single live episode of, like, anytime I go live on TikTok, I start with something, but it's at some point I switch over and I start drinking Mellow Corn. It's that's got to be my go-to. And I talk about it constantly. Now, my favorite of all time, it's hard not to go with one of my like really high-end bottles, and that would be Old Fitzgerald 15. The fall 2019 Old Fitzgerald 15 is like holy crap good. Like, if I can ever find a backup bottle of that, Augie's not going to college. Like, that's not happening because I will acquire that backup bottle.
Jesus, dude. You won't go to college. Next thing you know, he'll be working at Heaven Hill.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know, like, it's too difficult to do an all-time favorite. I would say, like, I would just have to go with what I gave the highest rating to on the show so far, which was Angels Envy Rye. Like,
Yeah,
the Angels
Was that
Envy
your
finished-
highest rating ever?
Yeah, I think I gave like a 9.4 or something.
Okay. Was my highest ever Bomburgers?
Yeah, you're like a 9.8 on that or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds right.
Dan, there was someone asked, can you guys explain decadent like from today's episode?
Yeah. Ryan, why don't you go first, because that's like your go-to. I mean, or I can.
Yeah, I mean, how I perceive it as I kind of just naturally gravitate towards decadent, meaning like, especially if it's like a toasted barrel whiskey, you know, that graham cracker-esque, like chocolatey marshmallow, just overall decadent feel. So if I drink a whiskey that maybe a little chocolatey or, you know, over the top with the vanilla and caramel, I start to navigate towards that. And that's how I see decadent. So anything on the sweeter side of the spectrum, which I'm surprised this Angel's Envy Rye is as decadent as it is, because usually with a high rye whiskey, you know, it's baking spices, which is overly abundant. But I mean, I guess with that, what it's finished in that rum cask, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that makes a little more sense. But yeah, that's what I gravitate towards.
Yeah, and so decadent, I identify as, again, very sweet, but a rich sweetness. Like, I think of a chocolate cake specifically, like a thick chocolate cake. And I don't necessarily identify with the chocolate portion of it, but like another, like something else that's decadent to me would be like a when you take bacon and you, like, literally bacon, and smash it in brown sugar and then bake it in brown sugar. That's a very decadent flavor. It's got a spice to it. It's got a sweetness to it, but it's also got like a saltiness to it. It's just a very full flavor that ends up on the sweet side of things.
Mr. Clean just said Fireball is pretty decadent. I got to agree.
I won't disagree with that.
I was going to say
Screwball is decadent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's important to know when you're talking
Nobody
about
cares what you're saying, Stephen.
Oh, okay. We'll carry on then. I'm sorry.
No, you're right though. It's not like we're not identifying something as like overly sweet, like very sugary or anything like that. It's like
it's
more
a
limited
relative
sense
term.
of
We're talking about it's relative to other whiskey. So to somebody who drinks a lot, or it's to somebody who doesn't drink a lot of whiskey, I don't think you're going to find anything that we're talking about decadent. I think you're going to think, oh, that's just the same, like alcohol taste. But if you're tasting a lot of these things, that's when the tasting notes and the nose notes that we're talking about actually become relevant. It's what makes this whiskey different is kind of the unasked question that we're answering every episode. And so we're saying, you know, where that taste comes from, what are we picking up, kind of thing that makes it different, that makes it unique and worth trying. And I think that it's just that extra quality where whenever you have Fireball, or whenever you have Screwball, any of the balls really, anytime you're Lonzo Ball, probably.
If anybody's had balls, it's Steven.
Anytime you open the bottle, I've talked about this before, but anytime you open the bottle and there's sugar crusted on the cap, anything that gets close to that quality in bourbon in terms of the flavor, that may not be present if it's actually bourbon, right? But if you get that sort of quality tasting it, that there's like, you know, there's like a sweetness almost to it with Angel's Envy Rye, and that's what makes it unique. So,
and what I really like about, like, I get a big Kentucky hug from decadent bourbons and stuff, and I really like I like the sweetness. You feel it all the way down, and it stays in your stomach for a little bit, you know. And I just polished that off, by the way. Let's see. Will there be a rare breed episode?
Well, we did rare breed rye during Three Blind Ryes.
Yeah.
Um,
I think so. I think we'll do
yeah,
it at some point. Why wouldn't we? Yeah.
there's no reason not to. We just haven't yet.
Yeah.
You know what's weird is that we are 57 episodes in, which means that we have covered at least 65 different whiskeys and bourbons. And there is still so much that we have not tried on
Uh,
our.
Yeah, not even close.
there was a question above. I've heard like someone asked if we tried a Basil Hayden something. I can't remember
Toasted,
what it
the
was.
new toast.
Yeah,
No, they asked about the dark rye.
Oh.
Yeah, and I've never had a Basil Hayden, so I have not tried any of that. Which I mean, like my brother always says, like, what is the bourbon he always says that like not larceny,
No, Knob Creek.
Knob Creek. He's like, when you guys doing Knob Creek? We've
Knob
never once
Creek is
done a
great
Knob Creek.
stuff, and it's a shame we have not done more bean products. Honestly, honest to God, it's a shame we haven't done more bean products, but we haven't.
And we'll get to it.
We absolutely will.
Yeah.
But Basil Hayden, I don't have a single bottle of Basil Hayden of it anywhere. It's not on any of my shelves. So I've had lots of Basil Hayden. Basil Hayden to me is kind of like Bullet. Like if I'm at a bar or a restaurant that doesn't have a large whiskey bourbon menu, that's a go-to for me. However, I don't have any of it, Bullet or Basil Hayden, on my shelf. And it's not anything against them. It's just that in their price range, no matter which product you're talking about, to me, Bullet and Basil Hayden finished low in that same price range. So, like,
Yeah.
at $50, there's 10 things I can list that I prefer above Bullet or Basil Hayden, any of their products.
Mr. Clean brought up he thinks it's a good beginning bourbon for somebody, but he thinks the proof is too low. Dan, someone asked thoughts on Barrel Craft. Got a ticket for a tasting event coming up, but I've never had any.
Okay, so Barrow Whiskey, oftentimes I find myself, we've talked about it before amongst ourselves and probably on an episode or two, that with Barrel, I always find myself questioning whether or not it's worth the price that you have to pay to get the bottle, because like it's expensive stuff. It's not cheap. Like I don't know of a single Barrel product that's less than $55. And it often gets over well over $100. I have 3 bottles of Barrel right now, and the 3 bottles that I have are a 18-year Barrel store pick, again from A1 in Effingham, and this is 115 proof, and it's really good, but I don't know that it's worth the price I paid.
It's a very nostalgic looking bottle. I will say that. Like I could see it like being in like in the background of a Pulp Fiction movie or something like that. Like it's got that like old Los Angeles type vibe to it. Not that that's where it's from, but that's the vibe I get from the bottle.
Yeah, I could agree with that. The next one I'm going to show you and the next one I'm going to talk about are the only 2 that I can 100% say that are 100% worth the price that it takes to acquire the bottle.
Dan, I got a joke real quick. I was going to say Ryan has that old Hollywood look, that Charles Manson look. You can go on.
Let me just sketch my forehead real quick with some type of symbol.
All right, so the next one that I've got is 100% worthwhile. It was honestly, it was $110. I hope my wife's not zooming in right now, but this is one of their special releases.
None of our significant others are listening to this. Come on.
Okay, cool. This was a private release. It's finished in a pear brandy cask. The pear brandy cask doesn't give it a sweetness per se, but it tones it down just a smidge.
All right, let's do our final question.
All right, it's from Quentin. What can viewers do to promote our podcast on various platforms?
Just tell your friends about it. Just listen yourself, I would say, and just tell your friends if you want. You don't have to, though. It's enough to just listen and watch, in my opinion. But if you really feel compelled, share on social media. Like and subscribe.
Yeah. Like I'd just add, I don't think the podcast is going anywhere. Like, and when I say that, I mean it's not going away. Like, I absolutely love connecting with you two once a week, talking about bourbon, getting drunk together virtually, because we can't do it physically. That's enough for me to continue doing it.
Well, what a great way to end it. I can think of no better way. What a positive episode. And at the beginning, I defended Ryan from High West rather than also shit on him. And then we wrap up with this. What a loving episode we had tonight.
Yeah.
Fly us out to Park City, though. High West. You could really redeem yourselves if you do that.
They won't. We're not talking to We're not talking to the master distiller.
Oh, I know, but he's got that Constellation money back in him.
He's not even Mormon. I don't think he's even Mormon.
No, but he's got the Constellation money, dude.
I don't know, man. He couldn't even hook us up with 2021 Midwinter's Night's Dram. Like he couldn't even score us fucking bottle.
You know he could.
He just didn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
It's like, I'm not gonna. Okay, if Nicki Minaj messages me, maybe, but not these fucks. Like, I gotta save my bullets where I can.
Another bourbon show. Another bourbon show. Another bourbon show.
I've got something like super important to share with you two fuckers.
I'm gonna stop recording, by the way, on Zoom because
you don't want to stop recording yet.